Hey, today I'll be talking about episodes 14 through 17 of Legend of ZhenHuan. Meijrong is now 1 month pregnant, but showing some weird symptoms that her new doc tells her are no big deal. Lingrong, meanwhile, has run into some trouble. Her father has been accused of what she says are false charges. She begs Meijrong and ZhenHuan for help. Meijrong goes to plead on her behalf, but the Emperor's attendant convinces her that she will only make things worse, so she leaves. The Empress, on the other hand, does go and see the Emperor. Smart move, as this leaves Lingrong in her debt. ZhenHuan also does her part with the Emperor, and he decides to reinvestigate. Lingrong is very grateful to ZhenHuan, but Meizhong's lack of action shows her that relying on others for power just isn't sustainable, and she resolves to get some for herself. Over the next few weeks, Huanbi begins to get more and more reckless in her attempts to get the Emperor's attention with flashy outfits and accessories. She pretends it's coincidence that she's all dolled up whenever he's there, but ZhenHuan's no fool. Meijrong hosts a small get-together to celebrate her pregnancy. It goes well, but on his way out, the Emperor sees a suspicious-looking servant. They bring her to him, and she reveals that she is helping Meijrong get rid of her underwear, which is stained with period blood. Dun dun dun! Meijrong claims to have no idea what she's talking about, but the servant tells a convincing story, saying Meijrong has been faking her pregnancy and forcing the servants to go along with it. Dr. Liu, Meizhong's usual gynecologist, is nowhere to be found, so they call another one to check on her.
You are not!
Actually, no one is the father. Meijrong is not pregnant. Meijrong tries to defend herself, but the Emperor is convinced. She's demoted to second-class female attendant and placed under house arrest with no visitors until further notice. We find Dr. Liu receiving his pay for a job well done. Then, the person that pays him tries to kill him, but he gets away. Huafei is pissed, because of course she was behind this. The plan went perfectly, except she wasn't able to tie up loose ends by killing Dr. Liu. Meizhong's fall starts to affect Lingrong and ZhenHuan, and the Emperor won't even see ZhenHuan, since all she wants to talk about is releasing Meijrong. After a few weeks, ZhenHuan starts to see that she's going about it the wrong way, and when the Emperor finally agrees to see her again, she does not bring up Meijrong. Instead, she focuses her efforts on finding Dr. Liu. With her change in attitude, she quickly soars back up to the top of the Emperor's favorite girls list. Huafei begins to grow impatient and comes up with her own plan. Wenyi, Chao Guiren's daughter, has been sick lately, and Huafei insists on taking care of her until she recovers. As intelligent as Chao is, at the end of the day she can't actually stand up to Huafei. Huafei uses her as a punching bag, and because Chao Guiren has completely lost the Emperor's attention, she goes along with it. That's not to say that Chao Guiren is a good person, though. She's more like a bad person who doesn't have the means to be bad on her own. She agrees to send her daughter to Huafei's place. Wenyi cries through the night because, she's a sick baby, and Huafei is annoyed with the interruption to her beauty sleep. So, as any rational adult would, she has Wenyi drugged. Wenyi's nannies report the news to Chao, who comes to the same conclusion that Lingrong did earlier. You need to have your own power. Huafei gets what she wanted, and with Wenyi living at her place, the Emperor visits much more often. With Meijrong gone, ZhenHuan has a lot more time to spend with Lingrong and helps her with a makeover. She then helps her come up with a plan to get the Emperor's attention, her voice. Lingrong practices singing in a garden, but they're overheard by Huafei, who as usual comes over and makes everything worse. The Emperor sees Huafei abusing her power and being very rude and is not impressed. Quick aside, I love this drama, but she couldn't see this entire procession just a few feet away? Did those giant hairdos mess with their peripheral vision? And their hearing? Anyway, he is impressed with Lingrong and sends for her later that night. This time, Lingrong does well, and it looks like things are finally looking up for her as she's promoted to first-class female attendant. She doesn't forget to thank ZhenHuan, who is very gracious. I wish the same could be said for Huanbi, who is jealous, sour, and unnecessarily rude. Anyway, Lingrong gives ZhenHuan 2 very nice dresses. Once they're alone, ZhenHuan scolds Huanbi for being so ridiculous, but still decides to give her one of the dresses from Lingrong. I think ZhenHuan clearly sees that Huanbi is bad news, but feels guilty since the half-sister situation sucks so much. Huanbi, of course, learns nothing from her scolding, immediately wears her new dress out and is spotted by Lingrong. Lingrong doesn't know their relationship and is hurt and a bit offended that ZhenHuan thought so little of her gift as to give it to a servant. Bye bye Meijrong. I won't blame Meijrong for being fooled, but I will say, In this palace of trickery, getting a second opinion really should have been the first thing on her to-do list, especially considering that Dr. Liu kind of popped up out of nowhere. What I really don't understand is why the Emperor thought she did it. If the story was true, Meijrong was pretending to be pregnant and hiding the fact that she got her period. Okay, but to what end? She was already doing well, and doing this would only get her a few months of love and attention before people would inevitably get suspicious that she wasn't showing. Even if she hid that, what about when it was time to deliver? It just doesn't make sense from Meijrong's point of view to do something so foolish. How would she benefit? If I'm missing something here, please let me know. In any case, now that ZhenHuan is focusing her efforts on Lingrong, I will say I can more than understand why Lingrong begins to distance herself. I mean, if ZhenHuan could have done this at any point, why wouldn't she have helped her friend earlier? It makes ZhenHuan look a lot more self-serving than I think it's meant to. And of course, everything is made worse by Huanbi. Man, I hate Huanbi. She's literally my least favorite character in the show. I'll wait until the next video to really get into it because she gets worse from here, but honestly, she's just terrible. I mean, if she just wanted to hurt ZhenHuan for being in a position that she was kind of robbed of, I would get it. It won't help her situation, but jealousy is pretty normal, petty revenge can be understood, but no, she has the most nonsensical motivations and the stupidest ways of going about them. Okay, I did say I would leave this till later, so till next time, thanks for watching.